Diaphragmatic breathing is a super valuable tool to properly activate your core prior to performing your exercises, and it's also a great way to initiate relaxation in your body in times of stress. I love to use it as a warm-up prior to my exercises, especially if I'm doing a heavy lifting session. So let's kind of walk through some ways to activate the diaphragm, the transverse abdominis, the pelvic floor, and create true core activation, core stability. I like to begin this exercise laying flat on my back with my knees bent. And the first step is we're going to start with the diaphragmatic breathing. One hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. What you want to do is take nice, slow, deep breaths, feeling for the rise of your belly with your chest staying pretty much still. So we're breathing down into the bottom of our lungs. As you can see, my chest is staying still, my belly is rising. Ideally, doing this exercise, breathing in and out of your nose, is the best case scenario to fully provide that diaphragmatic expansion. But if you prefer to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, that's okay too. Just keep it pretty relaxed. Once you get that down, the next step is we want to add in the transverse abdominis contraction. So in order to feel for that, you're going to take two fingers and place them just inside your hip bones. So if you feel the front of your hips, you'll feel these bones sticking out, your ASIS, come just inside. And when you're relaxed, this area is going to feel soft and kind of swooshy. As you breathe in to your diaphragm, you should feel some tightening under your fingertips. What you can do is think about bringing these hip bones closer together, just creating a little bit of a tightening, a contraction in that area. So I give a little bit of pressure into that area, breathe in, same thing as before. And it's not something that you can really see, so you really have to use your fingers to feel for, is there some tightening of the muscle tissue underneath your fingertips? That's your transverse abdominis. What you don't want to do with this one is overcompensate by tilting your pelvis and really squeezing your rectus abdominis. When we're looking to create true core stability, we want to focus on those deep muscles. So if you're breathing in and you're really throwing your pelvis back, again, not a bad exercise, but in this case, that's kind of overcompensating for what we're looking for. So your pelvis should pretty much be still. We're just looking for the activation in here. Now the final part that we'll add into this is to add a little bit of a pelvic floor contraction as well, also known as a Kegel. There are a few different ways of doing this and a few different thought processes. From my understanding and my experience, when you are breathing in and your diaphragm is coming down, it's lengthening, we want our pelvic floor to eccentrically lengthen. In other words, your pelvic floor has some tension, it's activated, but it's not squeezing and tightening and lifting up. When we exhale, we want to bring the pelvic floor up and in so that the diaphragm and the pelvic floor move up during the exhale and down on the inhale. So again, watching, you're not really going to see a whole lot happening, but I'm going to breathe in, hold that TA contraction, feel my pelvic floor lengthening. As I exhale, the TA is still staying tight and the pelvic floor is lifting up and in. Lots of different things to think about with this one. It's a little bit tricky. If you feel like you have trouble coordinating it right off the bat, totally normal. Now, in order to progress this, we can make this exercise more challenging by doing it in different positions. So the way that I would do it next is put my legs up in the air at about 90 degrees and do that same exercise. Breathe in, TA, pelvic floor, You can then add the arms and the legs up in the air together. We can also perform it in quadruped or even in the bear position like so. So give that one a try to increase your core activation, do some diaphragmatic breathing, and get your body ready for exercise.